Okay, power pole charge finally came in. That's it right there, the bad boy. Haven't opened it up yet. Got my Lithium Pros 12 volt battery. Already have my 36 volt Lithium Pros in there. So those are the two batteries we're gonna use. It doesn't matter if you have three 12 volt batteries or one 36 volt battery. This thing works the same. I don't know what I'm doing here. So you're gonna learn along with me as I learn. I understand the concept of how this bad boy works. This is not a typical charger. This optimizes all of the power within your batteries, all of your batteries, whether you have 3 or 4 batteries, or whether you have a 36 volt and a 12 volt, however your battery configuration is, it optimizes all of that power in order to maximize it when you're on the water, and it utilizes the alternator in that big engine there. That's the old, I shouldn't say old, it's the new Mercury Pro XS bad boy V8. And so that's gonna take that and it's gonna optimize it. I'll explain more about that, but we're gonna get to open this box here in just a second. All right, let's see what's in this thing. We're gonna just open it up. There she is. You know, it's not big. I mean, my hands aren't huge, but it's not a huge unit. Let's see what all is in here. Take this in there. Cushioned. On the back side of it, it's got a heat sink, charging. That guy out of here. All these wires. That's it. Bundle of wires. And handy little diagram right there. Shows you how they go. And there's the 36 volt. There's the 12 volt. Very handy. So we're gonna have the 36 volt. That's really how it's gonna look for us right there. And then I highly recommend reading this, even though you're gonna watch this video. You get one of these manuals. You wanna read this bad boy before you do anything. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way, and then I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna configure it, lay it out, and undo these wires and kind of show you where they go. As I'm getting ready to work back here in the battery compartment of my Bass Cat, I gotta show you this. This is one of my favorite features of the Bass Cat. So you can just open up the back compartment. It's got two big ones. I'm gonna undo that strap. Then you can just take that deal right off. And then look at that. You got full access to there. I'm gonna go ahead and take this other side off before I get going, but that is the deal right there. Take that off, you can work back in here easy. Okay, so now I'm sitting in the boat, as you can see, sitting physically in the boat. I'm gonna show you, before we hook it all up and mount everything, I'm gonna show you how it's all gonna be configured. Okay, so here we are. This is the big 36 volt battery, the big Lithium Pros. Now I've got the 36 volt lithium. It doesn't matter what you've got. You set that up in the app later. This is the 12 volt battery that came installed in my Bass Cat. This is the lithium cranking battery we are going to use here. This is the one I just got. I'm going to hook this up. Everything is going to go to this. This is just going to, I might just leave this in there for a little bit and then take it out. I'm not going to take it out right away, but this is the 36 volt. And as you can see over here, we have the 2 power pole pumps, and in the Bass Cat, they've got this other area over here. That's where we're gonna mount the charge. The charge is gonna go over there. And as you can see, one of the cords coming out of it is the AC where that hooks up. One of the other massive cords here, this is where the 12 volt battery is gonna hook up, the really big ones here. And then the other cord comes around here, and it's got three leads on it. The black is going to go to the negative. These 3 are going to be combined onto the positive of the 36 volt battery, because as you can see right here, they're all three of those are going to be combined on the positive. The negative is going to go to the charge. Those bigger wires are going to go to the 12 volt. That's how you would configure it with a single 36 volt battery. Very nice diagram. This manual is very good. A lot of good information. You want to read every word in this bad boy. I already know basically how it functions, but that's going to be the setup. So I'm going to get started and get this thing all hooked up, and I'll show you how I'm going to mount it over here. Now these are the screws that I'm going to mount it with. I'm going to mark the holes there, and then I'm going to use these little rubber dealy bobs to go under, so it's going to be mounted, onto those little rubber washers, if you will. That's going to help get some better ventilation. You want to make sure that you don't mount this too close to that back wall. I want to make sure I have enough space so that the good air can circulate all the way around. That's going to circulate that air under the unit and be able to cool that bad boy off. And you want to put that charge as far away from the batteries as you can. I think these gas tanks, having the charge on the opposite side of the gas tank is a good place to put it. It's a good distance away. I mean, if you really want to get real far away, PowerPole has extensions. You can get extensions for all of these wires if you really want to get it far away, but you don't need to do that. We're going to hook up to this thing with Bluetooth once we get it all installed, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to get that installed next. All right, so we got her all hooked up. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I'm going to give you a little tour of the inside and where everything was run. So there's the charge unit itself over here, mounted like a rock with those rubber washers. I just like to do that with anything that's solid in a bass boat if I can get away with it. And also it'll give it a little better ventilation over there. Over here you can see that's ventilation for the boat right over there, and for the whole battery compartment. But the big wire, the AC and the 12 volt went up under here. The 12 volt went around here to the positive and negative on the lithium battery, and then I ran the plug over here, so I can just open the compartment, open it up, and then I can close the top of the compartment and keep that out as well, and it be able to breathe and be able to charge without being exposed to the elements. So I just cable wire tied that right up in there, and then the other part went right around there and came out and hooked to the 36 volt battery, and that was it, man. That was it. Gonna pull the juice off of that big Mercury on the caboose. All right, so this last part, I'm gonna have the unit exposed so I can see it. Now I've got to hook up to the app. I haven't done anything with this before, so I'm gonna check the directions one more time, and then I'm gonna hook it up, and then I'll walk you through how to do that. This is the whole key, the coolest part about this whole deal, and then hopefully I can help you understand exactly how this charge system works. So now the fun part begins. You want to go onto your phone after you download the Sea Monster 2.0 app, and you're gonna pull it up, and it'll look just like this. And once you open up your app, you'll have it opened up, and then it's gonna see all of the power poles. You want to make sure your power poles are on. See what power poles come up as having the signal and the charge having the signal, and then you want to delete all the ones that are not active. You just want to have the 2 power poles as it on my boat. If you don't have power poles, then you don't want to have those, looking for those, but you're just looking for the charge if you just have the charge. But I'm looking for both of my power poles and the charge unit. Once we have those, you're gonna look at your boat settings. You wanna hit that boat settings button because the screen is gonna look pretty much like this. So when I first clicked on the boat to look at the settings, I didn't see what I thought I was gonna see. This is the screen that I saw, and I was a little bit confused. So what I did is I went in and closed out the app. I closed out the app, turned everything off, turned everything back on, opened up the app again, and when it opened up the app again, it asked me again to connect. So I had to go back and hit the Sea Monster button on the charge unit again in order for it to connect and configure again. Once I did that, I went back through those menus, and then I was able to see, whereas I feel like everything had to just kind of reset. And so then when I did that, this is the menu that I saw, which is what I thought I was going to be seeing right off the bat. Okay, so once that was done, you want to go in there and configure what type of batteries you have, because the difference between lithium batteries and other batteries and AGMs to lead acid is the voltage that those batteries go to. So you definitely want to go down to the very bottom of your screen as you're looking at that previous screen, and you can swipe up those little three lines at the bottom. Swipe up, and then you'll see this menu right here, and you're going to want to configure. And once you configure, you're gonna open up that settings button right there, to where you can configure your batteries to whatever type of batteries you have. Like I said, mine are lithiums. So as I went in there and I configured lithium for the cranking, saved it, then I went back in and did it for they call it auxiliary battery, which is your trolling motor batteries. And so that it automatically knows, since the three of those are hooked up together, it knows that's a 36 volt battery, and it knows that it's a single battery, and it will show in there. And then so you have to configure either the reserve capacity or the amp hours on whichever one you're going to do that. So this is what that screen's going to look like. Then once you get that done, you'll go back out to your main menu, and you'll see that on those battery levels with the AGM battery, it showed as full. But again, these are lithium batteries. They hold a lot more power. Once I reconfigured the batteries for the lithium and the proper amp hours and reserve capacity, totally changed. Now all of a sudden they're not fully charged, and the charge unit, which is connected to the AC on the wall, that is actually charging the batteries, as you can see. Pretty cool. So that concludes basically the installation portion of it. The installation of the PowerPole Charge, not a big tough deal, not a tough job. Most people can tackle it. You just want to make sure that you study that owner's manual properly. But see, I'm going to explain to you how that PowerPole Charge works. Now that you've got it in, when you plug it to the wall, it is going to charge your trolling motor batteries first. It is going to charge those auxiliary batteries first. You're going to charge those to full capacity, whatever you have them set at. It's going to charge those first, and once that's fully charged, then it's going to charge your 12 volt battery. You might ask, why is it not charging my cranking battery first? Because that's the biggest priority. If I can't crank my big motor, I can't go anywhere. Well, this is a charging system, not a charger. There is a difference. There's a big difference. What this unit does is it will transfer power from the 12 volt battery to the 36 volt battery when it needs it, and it will go vice versa. It will charge from the 36 volt side over to the 12 volt side. So where do you think there's more power to be stored? Yes, the 36 volt side. That is why it charges the 36 volt side first, charges that side first, then it will push that power over to the other side and charge the 12 volt side, and vice versa. If the 36 volt side goes down, it will actually pull power from the 12 volt side, pretty amazing. So when you're fishing, what it does is that when you start fishing, it will pull your juice running your trolling motor from your 12 volt battery first. Now this really threw me for a loop when I heard this. I thought, why? I want my 12 volt battery to stay as maximum charged as possible so that I can crank my big engine, right? This big boy right behind me, that big old Mercury back there needs some juice to turn over. But there is much more reserve capacity in that 36 volt system than there is on the 12 volt system. So you want to pull that 12 volt system down, and it's already got a predetermined amount. And then whenever you move that slider back and forth, there's that little slider at the bottom of your screen that says priority to trolling or priority to cranking. You can slide that back and forth to where when you pull off that 12 volt side, it will only come down to a certain voltage, and then it will switch over and start pulling off of the 12 volt, the 36 volt side. Now, and the reason that does that as well is so you're going to be pulling off your 12 volt side only down to a certain percentage. I think it's in the 65 to 70% range, maybe down to the 50% range, depending on your slider. So it may go down to pull your battery, your cranking battery, all the way down to 50%. But your 36 volt side has full capacity, has full power. Well, when you start your big engine and you run a mile or two down the lake or down the river to the next place that you're going to be fishing, that alternator, that big bad alternator in that big bad engine, it's going to charge your cranking battery up first. So it's going to charge that up first, and then your 36 volt side's already full. So during the course of the day, you may never, if you run around a lot, you may never touch your 36 volt side. At the end of the day, all your batteries are already charged. That's pretty damn amazing. If it gets to the point to where you're trolling around too much, as I said before, it's going to pull down, your 12 volt side to a certain point. Then it's going to start pulling power from your 36 volt side. If something happens on your 12 volt side, you're running your electronics, you're running your live wells, all that kind of stuff. That's where I was concerned. Not to worry. The charge will push power from the 36 volt side to the 12 volt side to keep it in that minimum range. So that 36 volt side is going to keep pushing power over to that 12 volt side in order to facilitate whatever type of electronics you may be running, like I said, live wells and whatnot. But let's say worst case scenario, everything takes a doo-doo. Everything takes a doo-doo. You just troll around until your trolling's content. You had all your graphs on and you just went as long as you could, and you had your live wells blasting. Everything went down to a reserve capacity base bottom. Well, what's going to happen then is that on this screen that you'll see right here, you'll see at the top it says emergency switch. Check this out. That emergency switch, when you switch it on, what it will do is it will draw every bit of last power from your 36 volt side, convert them simultaneously into a 12 volt burst in order to start that big engine back there. And once that big engine is started right there, it will turn that emergency start off, and it will charge your whole system back up using the power from that 12 volt alternator, a big bad boy on that Mercury. It will charge your 12 volt side up until it gets to a certain level, and then it will start charging your 36 volt side, and you'll be good to go for the rest of the day. But you may want to keep an extra jump box or something if you don't quite understand how that works. But let me tell you, it is super slick, super awesome. This is one hell of a unit. It's a fair amount of money, but I tell you what, it optimizes the power in the back of your boat. No matter what kind of batteries you have, it optimizes the power like nothing else. Once I fully understood how the charge works, it's pretty damn amazing. And hats off to PowerPole for coming up with this thing and not bringing it out too soon. Man, they have worked all the bugs out of this system. It is really, really slick, and I can't wait to have this thing in my boat, because I know it's gonna give me a little bit of advantage out there on the water, give me more power and be able to go longer. So the power pole charge, that's the full deal of the install and explanation. If you have any more questions, be sure to hit me up in the comments. Let me know what else what other questions you may have. But if there's any other things that need better explanation, maybe I'll do another video on it later. But there it is, the power pole charge. It's all installed, slick, back in the back. Let's roll.